Welcome to this edition of Hebrew Nation News on YouTube. Every week, the world seems to be accelerating faster and deeper into end-time events. Listen in with Bonnie Harvey as she covers the news highlights of the week for a quick overview. Remember, we know not the day nor the hour, but we do know the season. Reporting to you live on YouTube is this week's news report, Countdown to the Second Coming.
Welcome to the news. The encapsulation here, Bonnie Harvey from Central Oregon. Dead bank walking. I draw attention to the German banks because the vision of David Wilkerson in 1973, God told him that this is what's going to happen in the end. Concerning the financial collapse, it would start in Germany. German banks would default first, spread to the world. Within 2 weeks after Mexico defaults, the United States defaults. So let's see what the German banks are doing. Their investors, the people that are watching these things in the European Union say, we could save our banks with tax, and I don't know which commentator it was that said, or the banking analyst, it seems that the investment bankers have been in control for 20 years and they have sucked the banks dry. And remember, the German banks carry one of the largest debt loads of derivatives. And again, derivatives are nothing more than bets on other commodities. Max Kaiser said the banks are technically insolvent. They are a Ponzi scheme that needs to go out of business. The only way they're staying afloat is by financially engineering products. That sounds like negative interest to me. This is a dead bank walking, are his exact words. Bavaria now has started to levy a negative interest on savings accounts. This is a first in Germany. It's accounts over $112,000. At the minimum level, it would cost you almost $500 a year to keep your money in that savings account. This is just the edge of the wedge. They started with negative interest rates on business accounts, and then chopping deposit rates. Remember when they used to pay interest on deposits? Now it is the wealthy savers. Where is it next? Ron Paul says he knows where it's going to go next. He has been the vice chair of the House Banking Committee, and he has been in Congress for 20 years. He says the voices are getting louder and louder each year. And that is to have retirees, IRAs, a mandatory purchase of retirement of government bonds, and these things are worthless. The dollar's worthless. They're just trying to squeeze out any pocket of wealth. They're turning us upside down and shaking the pennies out of our pockets. And now they want the retirement accounts of the retirees. Everything is fair game for seizure. And historically, they've ignored the Constitution when they want to do this. And historically, this emergency always results in a huge gain for the government and a huge loss for the citizens. Let's see some of those examples. The Continental Congress, pension continentals. If anybody refused to accept this money, the debt was automatically canceled. The Continentals were backed by nothing. What does that sound like? Today's dollars? We were taken off the gold standard in 1971. It's backed by nothing. The Continentals failed, of course, just like our dollar is going to fail, and ultimately people holding Continentals received a penny for every dollar. Lincoln paid soldiers in greenbacks, but demanded taxes in silver and gold. The soldiers finally received gold for their greenbacks 15 years later. They were still alive. FDR gave Americans 1 month to turn it all gold. And then he revalued gold almost twice. So Americans lost immediately 41% of their household wealth. This is going to happen again. In 1971, Nixon, by executive order, said dollars are no longer redeemable in gold, allowing for this rampant inflation that we're seeing today and the soon repudiation of the dollar internationally. Next up, retirement accounts. $23 trillion in retirement accounts. If they got even a third of this, the government would instantly be wealthier by $7 trillion. And of course, retirees instantly poorer by $7 trillion. Or they might try it. Well, in addition, they will go to retroactive taxes. Yep, you heard it. It's already the law. California, Washington, Michigan. Negative interest rates in American banks is on the way. Hillary is not well. Many websites are discussing this at length. Here she is being supported. This is about a 4x4 podium that she's standing on. There's no reason that an ordinary person couldn't easily stand on that thing. And look at the hands of these two men. They are eager. They think she's going to topple over. This guy is rushing over. She must have almost fallen to have him rushing over to come to her aid. Additionally, just besides being physically unmanageable, is she wearing a defibrillation vest? This is a vest to give advanced warning of cardiac problems. If the vest senses problems, it will release a gel, which produces a shock, which gets the heart going again into a normal rhythm. Here is an example of the defibrillator vest. And you can see this big package here that controls the vest. Look at this picture. What is she wearing here? Is she wearing a wearable defibrillation vest? Dave Hodges interviewed 2 physicians who looked at her symptoms, and they said it's any of these: a tumor, brain injury, dementia, Alzheimer's. And we know that she has had a previous stroke. She had a concussion in 2012. Also, medical records were leaked ostensibly from Lisa Bardak, who is a leading physician at Cedars-Sinai. And also, the press is questioning Hillary's use of baggy clothing. What is she hiding? This is ostensibly the final summary of the workup. Again, this is at in New York State. The person, was this Hillary? It says it's Hillary. Dizziness, fatigue, seizures, memory loss. Diagnosis: having seizures, dementia. She's on anticoagulants and anti-seizure medications. She started to become more depressed and frustrated. She's experiencing more frequent seizures and blackouts. The game plan is to increase her antidepressants and her anxiety medication and never travel without a physician, a medical team. This is the future president? Is there a plan B? I offer to you, this could well be plan B. Cain, think of his name, the seed of Cain, the first murderer, the first one to build big cities, the first line to manipulate people by music, the first line of arrogant, world-dominating people, the seed of Cain. All that you can find in, if you look into the Hebrew, on the genealogy of Cain. I think it's in Genesis 5, Genesis 4, I don't know. Is that his description? Is his name his meaning? He has strong Muslim Brotherhood ties. He spoke at a dinner honoring the Muslim Brotherhood. He accepts money from radical Islamist groups. He appointed as a state immigration commissioner a Hamas supporter who was the vice president of a radical mosque that was led by Anwar al-Awlaki, who was labeled the bin Laden of the internet, has now been killed. 3 of the 9/11 hijackers and a perp of the Fort Hood shooting. All of these guys went to this radical mosque, of which Omesh is the vice president, and he sits on the State Immigration Commission. Cain has many Muslims in Virginia, his state, he's governor, and they also have one of the worst human trafficking problems in the country. Human trafficking, getting women, young girls, I don't know, maybe even boys, for the pleasure of men. Is there a link there? Muslim Brotherhood goal? Destroy America from within. Cain is Catholic. You know, I had Bill Koenig on. He said that mostly if a congressman has a religious background, overwhelmingly it is Catholic. Interesting. Attended an all-male Jesuit high school and a Jesuit mission trip. He is a fan of Catholic leader Francis. Pope means father. He's a leader, Francis. Cain agrees that global warming is an issue of faith. An issue of faith. This is going to be a religious issue, global warming. And of course, global warming is a ruse, so they can get a global tax to support a global government. My faith is central to everything I do. Jesuits were established as the Roman Catholic, as the military arm of the Catholic Church. They don't have some friar in a winery or a garden as their head. No, they had Ignatius Loyola, who was a Spanish soldier, who had an angry response to the Protestant Reformation and said, we need another arm. We need to stamp out these Protestants. And we need to get the church back on the right track. And millions, he did. He convinced millions of people to not burn by the stake, but to get back into the Catholic Church. Is this our future? This is the Pope offering a symbol of peace, these 2 doves. This is one of them. And the doves were instantly attacked by a raven and a seagull. Chased them both away. Now the Pope releases balloons. It's a lot safer. Here we have Cain, and who do we have on the left? We're out to dinner. Oh, this is a wonderful occasion. Notice the big smile on Cain's face. Who is that on the left? On the left is nobody other than Sonny Boy Soros. Just when we thought Soros might relieve this world of his presence, here comes a new one. NATO is a flashpoint. NATO versus Russia, this is going to be a flashpoint. I know that the American press is pointing Russia as the perpetrator. I don't think so. Finnish listener, the Baltic area is up a notch or 20. Russia is bringing in big missiles. I offer to you that the inciter of this has been the Western world. They're the ones that first moved their troops to the Eastern Front. Putin said that all he wants to do is get along, just get along and leave us alone. We don't want to do anything. But they are establishing the BRICS nations, which is an alternative to the Western central banks. They are establishing an alternative, their own bank of international settlements that would challenge the SWIFT system. So they are threatening to extricate themselves from the corrupt Western Western banking system, which is run by Luciferians, and get their own backed by gold banking system. And the kings of the Western world want to stop that. They want to stop that. Yana Ben Nun, who is Russian Ukraine, said that the Catholic hierarchy, again, it's not the Catholic people any more than it's the American people that are causing all this trouble in the world. It is the leadership. The leadership are out there, just hungry for power and causing all the trouble. They want to stomp out Eastern Orthodoxy. There was a split, never has been healed, and the hierarchy can't stand it. During the Soviet days, the Eastern Orthodox Church fled to the Ukraine. So now 4 of the 6,000 total Eastern Orthodox churches are in the Ukraine. That's very concerning. What is the year of mercy? This is the year of mercy. After that, what happens? The year of vengeance? Oh, that's from Isaiah. This is the year of mercy. That's right. That's right out of Isaiah. That is exactly what comes next, is judgment. Rome will judge all those who won't. Oh, well. Okay, Jesuit Catholic leaderships want global domination. They created, according to Alberto Rivera, who is a former Jesuit priest, who converted to Protestant Christianity, and after that he began to tell the story of how Catholicism established Islam as the Middle East solution against both the Jews and the Eastern Orthodox Church. After several attempts on his life, Mr. Rivera died of food poisoning. The Catholic hierarchy has always wanted Jerusalem just as desperately as they do today. Their cat's paw, they said, the sons of Ishmael. And they established Islam. It is a combination of Catholicism and the ancient pagan way that they used to worship, just like modern day Christianity. This is told at this website. Also, Czech Publications has a book out on it. Today, Islam and Christian and the Catholic hierarchy are uniting under Mary, whom they call Our Lady of Fatima. That was Muhammad's either daughter or granddaughter. The Muslim world embraces Mary, big time. Marian apparitions are appearing in Muslim countries. This is from Daniel 11:38. Instead of them, he will honor, this is talking of the Antichrist, he will honor a god of force, a god unknown to his ancestors. A god of force. The Hebrew word there could easily be translated force and not fortresses. A god unknown to his ancestors. Who is that? Is that Mary? Yana said the Catholic hierarchy especially wants the Ukraine because the Eastern European Church is there. And is that the same reason they want the Islamic invasion for the Western countries? Is the Catholic Islamic unity the Satan's final solution against the true believers of this world? And the Western bankers are joining in on that because, there's a piece of, everybody gets a piece of what they want. Here we have the Navy going to a different uniform. Instead of blueberry blue, they are going to dense tree foliage. They're the Navy. What do they have to do with dense tree foliage? Here's their old uniform, here's their new. Coming soon to a forest near you. Future state churches. Iowa State Civil Rights Commission has deemed churches areas of public accommodation, therefore subject to state laws. They can govern what happens there, and the churches must make everybody feel welcome. Even 52-year-old hunks that identify as girls for that day and want to use the girls' restroom. A new class of criminals. Grandma. Again, this is the edge of the wedge. There's a bill in the legislature in California mandating vaccines for anybody who works in daycare, no exemptions. This is the ultimate goal, is if the government says you have to get a vaccine, you get it. Whether it's Zika, flu, MMR, whatever, and that list is only going to grow. This is Hail Satan in Alaska. Won't even read this. It's too disgusting. This is their prayer. Here they are. Satan is going in under equal protection, under constitutional equal protection, saying if the Christians are here, we can be here too. Solar system just got weird. They're saying that there is another planet out there, Niku. I offer that this is not a new planet. This is the same neutron star that was discovered by Harrington in '83. The press newspapers were full of the information for about 10 years. In the early 90s, Harrington was killed in a one-car collision in Australia. How do you kill yourself in a desert in a one-car collision? I don't know. But all of his work disappeared. His latest pictures, he was down there in the telescope getting the latest pictures, was very excited to share what he had. None of that has ever been revealed. It has this incoming neutron star and its accompanying planets. I offered you, this is Nibiru or Planet X that has been in the news. They're trying to say, oh, we just discovered this and it's named Niku. I don't think so. And it throws asteroids at Earth by a pass-by. Here it is. It's not on the same plane as the rest of the planets. Again, it's a different solar system. This is a sun. It's not a planet. It's a sun. It's a neutron star. It's invisible. That's why they built up. And it's coming from the south. Look at this trajectory. It comes from the south. But right now, the Earth is over here. When this comes by, it's coming from the south. That's why all of the radio telescopes with infrared lenses are in the southern hemisphere pointed south. Has this been led to extinction level events in the past? Here's our solar system. There's a gap here. Some astronomers say this asteroid belt are the fragments of a planet that used to be here, that was smashed to smithereens by a collision of one of the planets of this system that came through on a previous pass-through. And also on the outside far right, we see the Kuiper belt. These are rocks going through our solar system. This neutron star has a lot of electromagnetic power. It pulls everything in the solar system is electromagnetically charged, north pole, south pole. And depending upon what passes by us, whether it's positive or negative, this neutron star and system are pushing some of these asteroids ahead of them, causing possible collisions with the planets, and it's also dragging a huge tail. I offer to you that trumpets 1 through 5 are asteroids. The first one, hail, blood, fire, hurled to earth, and trees and the grass are burned. Why hail? These asteroids are encased in ice. Why fire? Because they burn upon entry into our atmosphere and the ice falls off, causing hail. Why blood? They start to melt. The iron oxide starts to melt and it looks like blood. The second one, blazing mountain. Is that ever a description of an asteroid, a blazing mountain? And this one doesn't hit the grass and the trees, it hits the sea. And as sea creatures and ships are destroyed. The third one falls on sweet water and it becomes bitter. I have read that Chernobyl means wormwood, or wormwood means Chernobyl. That is, all of this stuff, again, is magnetically charged. It is radiation, huge amounts of radiation. And that causes the sweet water, the drinking water, to become bitter. The planets, the sky turns dark. Is this the atmospheric dust obliterating the sighting of the sun, moon, and stars? And one of these that had fallen opens the abyss, releasing man-tormenting demons. And these are not the same demons. The sixth are the demons emerge from what's under the Euphrates. And if you listen to my Days of Noah show, the Euphrates is on top of demonic creatures. Underneath the Euphrates are demons being held. And again, why fire? Well, it's burning. Why sulfur? Because this incoming asteroids have a lot of sulfur. They are smashed to smithereens, releases the sulfur into the air. Also smashes the Earth's crust, releases the sulfur. The sulfur goes into the air and people breathe it. Smoke, it's on fire. Has this happened in the past? Absolutely. Here's Canada. Here's Chesapeake Bay. Doesn't look like a crater? Huh. Look at underneath. That looks like a crater. You can see it smashed through the crust, breaking it. It pulverized the underlying sediment, and it cracked the ground underneath there. You can see the whole, this looks like if you took the water away, you could pretty much see Meteor Crater there. Here's Meteor Crater. Here is Ghana. And you can see the lake underneath. It is fractured, showing the same fractures as under Chesapeake Bay. Here's Chad. This is a desert, but you can still see the rings of the impact. You can see where the center landed. Then you can see the rings of impact around it. Here is Australia, same rings. Here is Australia again. No, this is Canada. This is Canada. And this is Canada. You can still see the rings. The world is turning very strange. It's this weather modification. Here are just some pictures that are being sent in by people. This is obviously an airline pilot or a passenger. What is this? Is this HAARP heating the air above and just drawing this stuff above? Heating up the atmosphere and drawing these clouds up? It's seen all over the world. Is this, yes, it's HAARP, or is this Father telling us an omen of what's to come? Is this like the black raven going after the dove? People are being alarmed. That's it, folks. Have a blessed week. I think time is short. If you want to know where you stand, I urge you to make sure where you stand with Father. If you want to know, pray and ask him. Ask him where you see. You say, Father, I see me as myself, and I know what I think of me, but what do you think of me? How do you see me, Father? Ask him. He will tell you. Make certain that you are right with Father, because we are going into some times such as never have been seen. Hugs to all. Love you all. We'll see you next week.